I really like a little hat tip to Randy, who does the thumbnail for the conversations that I host on YouTube and that are the headlines of the day on POTUS, because today he's got a map of Iowa and a map of New Hampshire, and then outlined in red, sort of bursting through the middle, the outline of the map of South Carolina. And the headline says, who's on first? What's this story all about? This is big. Politically speaking, this is a big story. President Biden is recommending that South Carolina, the state that lifted him to frontrunner status in the 2020 primaries, kick off the Democrats' 2024 presidential nominating contest, according to a top Democratic source familiar with the plan. So if this happens, this would end the long-standing tradition, at least on the Democratic side of the aisle. And by the way, this is for the Ds. Like, who knows what the Rs will do? But gone would be the days when New Hampshire, Iowa, and New Hampshire, in that order, Iowa caucus, New Hampshire primary, when they would be first in the nation. And like, I get it. I understand, and I haven't yet thought through all the ramifications of this. I totally get the frustration that exists among some that we entrust so much power to these early states, and candidates get knocked out in those early states, and they are not diverse. They are not diverse. On the other hand, and this is just my gut reaction to the idea that all of a sudden it shift and it be, well, let me tell you the plan. The proposed order would do away with the Iowa caucus. Instead, South Carolina would go first, followed by New Hampshire and Nevada on the same day, trailed by Georgia and then Michigan. Wow. Iowa on the Democratic side of the aisle. By the way, Iowa, which, Barack Obama won. Iowa put Barack Obama on the map. And when Barack Obama won Iowa, a very lily white state, and here was the junior senator from Illinois able to convince Iowa voters. When Obama won Iowa, that gave him the momentum. That created his trajectory. Iowa wouldn't even factor in on the Democratic side. And I suspect Iowa's not going to take this lying down. But if the president and the titular head of the Democratic Party says, I want it to be South Carolina first, it not that Biden needs the protection, but it certainly does protect Biden if he were ever to face a challenger. Because, remember what happened here. Joe Biden, there was a time early on in the 2020 process where you thought that Biden had no shot. Bernie had the momentum. Bernie was just like a Super Tuesday away from locking up the nomination. And then Jim Clyburn and the voters, largely folks of color in South Carolina, they delivered for Joe Biden. So a little bit of a payback on his part, but I don't think that's his sole motivation. I think probably the idea is that you'll get a more representative showing from the Democratic Party if you give the benefit to South Carolina and not to Iowa.